Oh, okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Conversations podcast. I think I'm going to call it something like that because pretty much the idea is to have conversations with different people in this setting. And this time we're having actually a very interesting guest. Um, that she's not here yet, but you guys know who she is. Her name is Naomi, and she's crazy hair, and she has been so much drama, bringing the tea, all that stuff. I'm reading you guys in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. Shout out to the directors of gaming for always supporting. Thank you, Dinosaur, Vesuvius, and Lord Volcas for being here early. So I want to kind of like take this time while she's not here at the moment. She hasn't arrived. Are you guys able to listen to me correctly? I hope so. Um, my hair might be crazier than hers today. That is true. I just left it to be wild. Today, I think it was pretty fitting. I don't know about you guys. I think it was like, listen, if I'm not gonna do like my hair for one of my videos or streams, it has to be today. So everything is working fine. Thank you, directors of gaming, for confirming. So yeah, the teal hair is cute. Thank you. So the whole idea and why I wanted to do the podcast or whatnot, it's because back in 2015 to 2014, I know, I hope that the internet, Mexican internet holds up. But I used to have this format where it allowed conversations to happen, or dialogue and debates. I find it so interesting. I wanted to make my channel, now that I came back into this sphere or side of the internet, like I wanted to bring back that and be able to have really interesting and different perspectives in this channel. So the reason why I invited Crazy Hair, who is, I believe, grocery shopping at the moment, she's not home yet, but I already sent her the link. We had it scheduled. She agreed. She's coming here. It's because, well, she's a small YouTuber like me, like a very small YouTuber, just like me. And I felt like a lot of things were thrown her way. And I understand where these things come from, but I also feel like people want to have a reasonable discussion with her where she answers some questions up front. Because after the Blair White stream, there were a lot of questions unanswered. Obviously, they didn't expect to have her on the stream, so they weren't prepared for that conversation to happen, and that's why it went the way it went, which is, I think, a little understandable. And so, of course, like, if things went the way they went, then Crazy Hair, made a video called Here's My Confession, where she throws a lot of things our way. It's a 50-minute video. I took my time yesterday to watch it. And I was on and off because I was working at the same time that I was listening to the video. But yeah, I did took the time to listen for most of it, and I was like, really, I don't know how to describe the emotion. I think that there were a lot of things to me that were unanswered, and then you went to the comment section and kind of saw like, yeah, okay, I'm not alone in this. There's some things that do not fit with what was said before, but I'm not here to take a side. I'm not here to say these people were right, these people were wrong. I'm here to kind of try to middle this up, balancing it out, and try to, accommodate the thoughts and the perspectives into what's closer to what probably happened. Um, and try to just like really find middle ground. Really, really try to. I know it's not my battle, it's not my drama, but it's the internet. And unfortunately, like when drama like that happens, Um, a lot of people, it opens it up for people to discuss it. And definitely it has happened to me where it's drama about me, that people inject themselves into it and try to uh, put their thoughts out there, whether they're right, wrong, or whatever. They're able to do that because it's a public discussion now. And so I felt the same way, and that's why I'm bringing her in the podcast. Thank you, everybody that is joining at the moment. If you're not interested in the drama, don't worry about it. You don't have to watch this stream. Nobody's forcing you, dude. If you still appreciate my content, we had a really good conversation a few weekends ago with Habib about Islam. It's amazing. And the next weekend, we're going to have a conversation with Micromonix about Twitch. It's gonna be super fun because Micromonix is super, super chill. So we're having that upcoming next weekend. There's a lot of content for you to watch. There's the apocalypse video. I mean, there's so many things that are gonna be good, like you don't have to watch this if you don't feel comfortable about the drama and about the thing. So we're just waiting for Naomi to come back home from her grocery shopping. As I said, I did invite her on DMs on Twitter. Um, with plenty of time, I think, about it. But life happens. She had to go do grocery. Maybe she didn't measure the time. It has happened to me. So like we're waiting on her to come back. Welcome again, everybody. If you don't know me, I am Queenie. Thank you for sticking with us today. Uh, First question should be what groceries. To be like, this really is interesting. Like, what do you get from groceries? Do you get organic? Imagine, that would be crazy. I do have some questions and I'm going to be answering some. If you have questions, tweet it at me. I'll try to look them up. We have a little hashtag, but people are not really using it. So I thought like doing the hashtag was a good idea because it helps me just look through the things more organized instead of like the different Twitter posts. But I'll try. I do have like a general idea of what are the questions that people have, because there are questions that you know I have myself about the situation, and so hopefully we'll get somewhere. So yeah, we're just waiting for her at the moment. Hi guys, we're just waiting for her. Let me see if she tweeted me out something. I got like some questions on that's not the setting to ask them, by the way. Don't send me like messages on Facebook. Thank you everybody that's retweeting and liking the stream and watching us today. I like my thumbnail, by the way. It was made by Panty Kitty on Twitter. The picture that you see of me, is drawn by her. She's a great artist. If you feel like commissioning her something cool, please do check her out on Twitter. And also the honey badgers, please do check them out, because now that I have like the opportunity to say this, Brian has a very complicated medical situation, and he actually helped share the situation when Phoenix was in a horrible situation out, and I wanted to like help out as well as much as I can. So if you guys can go on their Twitter, I'm sure you'll find a link. And please support with how much you can, because it is really important. And it's really, really shitty that things happen. I think
Hi.
she is here.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I hope the audio is okay. I'm just going to be putting away stuff in the kitchen and making dinner while I talk to you, and then I'll move to my actual snowball in the computer room. And sorry, everybody,
Okay.
I'm losing my voice. I actually haven't spoken much today, just so that I could save my voice for this.
All right. No, that's fine. I do have like a little echo.
Yeah, that's the problem with the headphones on like a phone. Like if you want to wait a little longer for me to like put all the stuff away in the refrigerator, and then I'll go on the computer. There won't be an echo.
Yeah, I think it's better if we wait.
Yeah, okay. I'll be with you like in 10 minutes.
Okay, don't worry
Okay.
about it.
Bye.
All right, bye bye. All right, so she muted, she left. Yeah, I think it's better if we wait. Because I heard myself, I don't like listening to myself. I have a horrible voice, a horrible accent. So I was like, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. So is the crazy hair replacing the boobs? Not yet. No, it's just, you know what? It's a weekend, and I had such a difficult time this week with work and different stressful situations and things like that. So I just wanted, like, I was like, listen, I love getting my hair to curl and like style it and so on, but I cannot do it every goddamn time. Like, it's just not possible, and especially when you have like a very exhausting week, like the least you're thinking about is styling your hair. So I was like, forget about it, maybe another day. But it's super spongy, and like I don't understand my hair sometimes. I did like this part, the front part, I did like style it a little bit, but everything else is pretty much natural. My hair is naturally curly, by the way, but because of me dyeing my hair, it changed the structure. And I thought, that's why I got a curling iron. But I don't like, it's so sometimes uncomfortable using it, and so I just moved it away. Like, not today. Not today. I felt like I already went through a lot this week. But, hopefully things get better. They always do. So remember, if you have any questions for Crazy Hair about the situation, do tweet them out. You can also use the super chat, by the way. I saw other people using the super chat for that, and I thought, that's genius. Like, they get super chat and they get to ask questions. That's really amazing. I don't want to obligate anyone into it though. So I don't want to say like, oh, you can only ask questions on super chat, but like, let's leave it like, if you have a question, you can also use Twitter. I'm on Twitter right now. I'll be checking it out. So yeah, and please help me promote the stream. That would be really nice. And thank you all a lot. Because yeah, as I was saying, I do have like questions of my own, but I know that there's other people that have questions. I have a few. Um, so yeah, thank you all for joining. Though we're just waiting for the for Naomi to come back, for her to put her groceries in the fridge, which I understand. I understand, man. I really do. Should I start singing now? While we wait, should we start like singing? How long does it take Grace to get to make dinner? I think she was just gonna like put things on the fridge and then go into the computer, which I really hope that's what she meant. Because if it's not, I'm gonna cry. Cause like I did give her like a time, so like, come on, girl, come on, girl. I think like she does now, like oh god, is he gonna start playing? No, okay, but yeah, all right. It's because I needed to like share it on my Discord. Come on, girl. Because like my phone, it's crazy. It's been crazy this weekend. This week actually, it's been crazy, and next week I'm also have like a lot of work. So, thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity. Let's take time to thank Jesus for it. I'm just gonna paste it here. Did he got it? Yes. And then I'm gonna go to mine and put it here. So yeah, guys, that's what's going on. Just me sharing my shit around, cause that's just how it is. That's how you That's what you do when you have a YouTube channel. You just share shit around. So yeah, guys, how's your week been going? You know, like a lot of people had vacation these weeks. And these months, these like June, July is like the months of having vacation. And I didn't have vacation. I'm not having vacation this year. At least that a thing. I'm saving it for next year. Because next year I wanna work really hard, earn my money, save my money, and go somewhere nice. I've actually thought of going to VidCon next year. Like serious talk here, I really, really wanted to, because I think like it's a great networking thing. And I think my channel needs it at the moment. So I thought, okay, we'll do it. But now, like, it's like so crazy. Like, I do not know what to make up of the situation. Like, I do have certain like conclusions that I took from a person like being outside. I do have like a like my perspective from things, but I think that I definitely will go with Phoenix. I'll definitely not go alone. I think like I need someone to go with me, and that it's close to me, so whenever crazy things happen, I'm not alone. And because like here's the thing, like a fucking convention for YouTubers is bound for drama. And this is not like the only year that features drama. Like, it is not going to be the last one. You know what I mean? Like, drama, it's just on YouTube every time. And, sometimes makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. It's crazy, the whole garbage human thing. It was crazy. Here's the thing, I feel like if I was in that situation, of like, I heard Anita call like him human garbage, I would have started laughing. And that is not to be like an ass, but I probably would have like, because if somebody calls me that, like if Anita Sarkeesian called me that, I would have just started laughing like crazy. But I did felt like the whole area went silent. So anyways, you're back.
I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. How are you doing?
I am losing my voice. I've tried not talking all day. And and I know I told you the joke that I've been running with, which is I sound like Hillary Clinton and I cough like Hillary Clinton.
Oh, wow.
So
That's crazy. Are you like anti-Hillary Clinton?
I'm not anti-Hillary Clinton. I just, when the US elections was happening, I was, when you're in a situation where you have two choices, you either laugh or you cry.
Uh-huh.
So watching the US election, I chose to laugh, because if I didn't make fun of everything, I was just going to cry.
Yeah, I get you. That's like Mexico every election. So, it happens, I think, on every country. So, yeah.
But I'm Canadian, so I'm okay. Donald Trump is not my president.
Oh! You're Canadian. I didn't know that.
I'm Canadian. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, like, you travel literally to another country to go to VidCon.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Okay, because I didn't know that. And well, I'm really bad at listening to accents. Sometimes there's people who have really thick accents like me, but there's people like from Canada that don't have really thick accents and that literally sound American. And I think that's your situation.
Also, like when I was younger, I had an English accent. I was born in England, in southern England. So I've worked on my accent to get rid of the English accent. So
no, you didn't. Yeah.
A lot of kids in my high school, I don't like it when people are not real with me. So I didn't like how some people were trying to be my friend just because I had a Harry Potter accent. So I got rid of it, and that way now only the people who actually like me and want to hang out with me are my friends type thing. So
yeah.
I didn't want anything fake or forced.
I get you. I get you. I mean, I love the English accent. That's why I married a Brit. So, like, it hurts me to listen. Like, oh no, like I had to change my accent. I was like, oh man, that's awful. But I understand that because kids can be really cruel, and you just want to like fit in and do your thing and just like remove yourself from the craziness that can be like school and life and shit like that. So I absolutely understand. um how like okay, so like you're Canadian, you're a content creator. How long you been on YouTube?
I've had a YouTube account since 2006. I've been following The Amazing Atheist and Sargon and Thunderfoot for as long as I can remember. But
Okay.
as for creating content myself, it's only been over a year now.
Oh, okay, so you're pretty recent into the content creation game then.
I've always written stuff and published it, but I've never made a video because I don't feel
Right.
comfortable in front of a camera. But then I thought, you know what? Fuck it, let's just do it. So I did. Am I allowed to swear on your channel? I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Yes, yes. Don't even ask that. Of course you can.
Okay.
Of course you
Yeah.
can. Like I swear all the time. So don't worry about it. They're used to it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So that's pretty interesting. So you've been like, watching YouTube but just like over a year you started doing content,
Yeah.
and like what was like what motivated you into content creation?
Honestly, it was my friend Ian who quote unquote red pilled me. He's he's the son of a very good friend of mine, and now I consider him a friend. He was bullied in high school.
Uh,
Like the kids were super mean to him. Like they would create websites about how much he sucked, and the RCMP, the Canadian like Federal Bureau of Investigation, I guess, they had
uh-huh.
to get involved and tell the kids like, you can't do this. This is against the law. And so he's a really, really brave person. He got through all of that terrible bullying in high school, and he was constantly posting on my Facebook feed about how feminism is cancer. And I was constantly getting into fights with him about how feminism is just the fight for equality between men and women.
Mm.
And he was just telling me things like he was posting links on my wall to show me how much feminism is cancer. And eventually I watched enough of it that I realized, he's right. Like, this shit is cancer. So, and then I got deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole and further, like I watched a lot of MGTOW and men's rights
Mm.
activist channels, and I started watching a lot of like anti feminist content. And it was around the same time that um, Sargon and TJ Kirk were getting on the whole anti-SJW thing. So I had a lot
Right.
of content coming my way, and I was reading a lot about it. And then I'm like, you know what? This is crazy. Like, there are not enough women speaking out against this bullshit. Like, it's all male voices. And obviously, these SJWs care more about what's between your legs and how you identify than your opinion. So I thought I'd
Mm.
throw my opinion out in the mix. And ever since then, I just make videos about things that interest me.
That's very interesting because I kind of had like a similar path in a sense. Um, I never really labeled myself a feminist. I think like that was something that some people called me, especially in college, because I was like, I was in arts and I always defend free speech in arts. And sometimes when things are very graphic in arts, people see it like, oh no, you shouldn't. You should be more conservative. You shouldn't do nudity. You shouldn't do gore. You shouldn't do X, Y, and Z. And I think like to me that's bullshit. Right, like I think like if you're a woman and you want to express sexuality in art, you should be able to. If you're a man as well, so I kind of got into the whole scene through art, if that makes any sense. But definitely online has shown me like a different perspective. But like what it showed me, and from what I know, is like feminism like that it's really big in like Canada, the UK, the US, and so on, like these first world countries. And I definitely see like there's a different agenda to feminists in third world countries that have different struggles and different problems and issues culturally, socially, and so on and so forth. So I find it really interesting. And the reason why I did start speaking about it back then was mainly because I also thought, like, okay, there's definitely a lot of male voices. I want to, like, add myself to the mix and see where it goes, and, like, testing the waters a little bit. But I do feel like these first world feminists,
Yeah, exactly. First
definitely,
world.
like, yeah, they are. they they have, like, this thing of, like, yeah, we care for you until you disagree with us, then we don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I have a really close cousin who's all about feminism and all about like she's very Israel is an occupying country and all of these like very very strong beliefs and very strong stances.
Right.
But still, her and I are able to sit in a car for 2 hours and have all these conversations about everything. And she doesn't call me a racist or a sexist. She just tries to like explain to me where she's coming from. And I talk to her about why I feel what I feel. And normally our conversations end with like, you know what, like, I guess we're not going to agree on this. Let's move on to the next topic. And we move on to a different political or social topic. So that's how I
That's
believe
interesting. That's really
conversations should
good.
be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think that you at least get more done when it's done that way. And I do think that there's a lot of issues out there that are a matter of perspective and experience. Even though they shouldn't rule your everything, they definitely come into play on where we stand, and I think that it's important to have conversations because of that, because it opens up a whole new different world that maybe we didn't even thought about, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's I'm all about like hearing other people's perspective because you know what, you don't know all the information. You can never know all the information unless you have a PhD in the topic and then you know most of the information. So I'm all about
Mm-hmm.
hearing other people's perspective, and it's one of the reasons that I stopped and spoke with Lindsay from Queer Kid Stuff, because I honestly don't want to believe all the bullshit that I hear and read about her. I want to hear from her where she stands on the different issues, and it was a really productive conversation with her.
Mm-hmm.
And now my
So,
phone's ringing again. This is great. This is great. It was
uh,
quiet for the first part of today. Now it's gonna not stop ringing.
well, I mean, if it's not an emergency, maybe you can just put it like,
Oh no, I mean like it's all those private unlisted numbers are calling me again.
oh, well, I usually just turn it off and just
Yeah,
not answer.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna I'm not gonna answer because I haven't answered any of them since the live stream a few days ago. I haven't.
Yeah, that was really intense. I think, like, even for people watching it, we were all like, what's going on?
I
Like, it
haven't
was really,
I
really
haven't
sad.
watched it again. I haven't watched it again because the first time was like horrible enough for me that I don't feel like I
Uh-huh.
need to expose myself to that again. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like the outpouring of support, the unending messages that I'm getting on Twitter, in my DMs from people like conveying their support and understanding of my situation, like it's been amazing. It's been exactly the opposite of what I expected from the internet.
So, like, you definitely have had people DMing you, supporting you, and backing you up.
Yeah, even pretty like a lot of people with very big like followings have been sending me
Mm.
messages, people that are even close with these people who have been like, hey,
Right.
I can't support you in public, but like just so you know, like I totally understand where you're coming from, blah blah blah. So I mean, I understand that they can't come out and support me. I don't want them to because I just want this to die. I'm not going to be stupid and expect that at one point they're going to apologize for the things that they said and accused me of, but like it's nice when people send you a message being like, "Hey, I went through a similar thing. Like just so you know, like I
Mm.
get it."
Yeah, I mean, I think that most of us have definitely gone through weird, crazy drama in our quote unquote YouTube careers, if anybody wants to call it that. Um, and I thought, like, the whole situation was really interesting because I I do not know you, and I don't think you knew me before this. And however, like I was watching the things that happen on vidcon because I like to keep myself updated on what they say and they do and all that stuff. And I find it so interesting that you would pop out in these different channels. And I was like, holy shit, I need to get myself to VidCon next year. Because, like, I have no idea who this girl is. And yet she's networking with like all these bigger YouTubers and shit like that. I was like, that's probably pretty worth it. Um, and then people arrived from VidCon, and it was this aura of like, oh man, like it was so amazing. Like they were almost talking like it was an like a spiritual experience, and that was just my perspective and my take. I'm not saying they said that. I'm just saying that that's how I took it because of how like people were saying that like. Oh, it was just humans connecting with humans. It sounded so spiritual and everything. And then one day, it was the Blair White stream. And that took me, like, it was so unexpected to me. Um, and then I actually talked to Bunty publicly on Twitter, by the way. Anybody can look it up. And I asked him, like, what was the reasoning really of making that stream? Because to me, it really came out of nowhere. Like, if you don't want to bring these issues to light or don't want to give a platform to somebody or like whatever reason, I felt like making a stream about it was really pointless. And he said that no, it's because she made a video first and that apparently more information was going to come out or whatever, so they had to come up ahead, something like that. And I said, okay, I understand, because then I looked up your channel, because again, I had no idea who you were, and I saw that you actually did a video. I didn't saw it all, but it was pretty much like, almost like a poem you wrote about it, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, it was just I was on the airplane. I was heading back to Canada. I was writing out my feelings the way that I usually do because when I'm like, and you know what? It's funny because there was one day that everybody was like, "Oh, come on, we're all going to go to this place. This is where everybody's going." And I'm like, "No, I'm just going to chill here and write. Like I don't really want to go with you guys. Like I just want to hang out and write." And Dave Cullen was like, "Get up, pack your stuff. We're going. You're not staying here to write. Come on, it's VidCon." And like pretty much dragged me like out, and I don't regret it. Like I mean, it was fun when I did go out with them, but like I was sitting on the airplane, I was writing, and I got back home and I read it, and I thought, you know what, like this perfectly sums up my feelings on the whole thing, without naming any names or accusing anybody outright. Like I'm just going to put my feelings out on my own channel, because that's what my channel is for. My channel's not
Right.
to like gain notoriety or to make like some kind of like specific political statement. It's for me to as an outlet.
Right. Just really quick. Thank you, Jeff El Bambino, for the super chat. He says, I honestly don't care what people say about you, Crazy Hair. I thank you so much for letting me hang out with the others. So there's that. You
Yeah.
definitely do have some support coming your way.
Jeff, for anybody who's never interacted with him, he's a super cool dude. Jeff was a little nervous meeting some people, but like him and I like talked a bunch about how like people are people, like you just approach them like they're people. And honestly, Sargon of Akkad and Dave Cullen and some of the others are very approachable. They say that to you themselves. They're like, I'm not anybody famous. Just talk to me like you would talk to anybody. And they're very grounded human people in their activity and interaction with other people. And so I tried to convey that to Jeff, and this was days before this whole event happened. Like honestly, the first 4 days of my VidCon experience were amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that, because when I first heard about it, about the drama, I was like, well, I did heard before you made, I think, even your video, I heard a few people complain about the Blair White party. And it wasn't like in a negative light towards personally her, but really how the situation was managed. Because a lot of people were like, yeah, apparently it was June's birthday and they were all gonna hang out there, and people actually went there for her, and she ended up just not being there. I understand the circumstances why, and at first I rationalized it like, okay, like you had a really long day of meeting different people, different fans, and at the end of the day, I mean, let's be honest here. If you're a YouTuber, you do have a persona online. Let's keep it real. Like you're not 100% yourself. You show what you want to show online, and most of that is the things that you think you're the best at, right? So of course, like after a while, it gets tiring. You just want to chill by yourself. So I thought, okay, that maybe they just wanted to like chill by themselves, after a long day. But then I got the information that it was a party, right? That everyone, all content creators were invited, and people made like like $100 tip, a trip back and forth in an Uber to go there because it was in the other side of LA, and people were literally outside waiting. And apparently, I think that the plan was to get everyone up at some point, but then they forgot. They forgot. They just stayed there chilling. So people were at the bar, I think. Um, and that's pretty much how I understood it, right? I don't know if like you have anything to add to that, or did I miss out on something?
The thing about the whole like party, what was supposed to happen, what wasn't supposed to happen, anything that I say is just what I heard was supposed to happen. So I was invited by a whole slew of people, not just by one person. And a lot of people, not even the people that invited me, a whole bunch of other people that were at the party were like, "Oh, you're coming to this and this, right? You're coming to this and this. You're coming to the party on Friday." And so what I know is what other people were telling me, things like, "Oh yeah, like we're gonna go on the rooftop of the Standard," and they were all sharing pictures of like what the rooftop of the Standard looks like, and like you guys can all Google it. It looks pretty fancy, like a bunch of couches and seats on the top of a rooftop where you can see like all the city lights of LA. And so that's what was supposed to happen, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm told. We showed up. I got a ride with Friended. Adam, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's got the blue face.
Yeah.
He he gave me a ride. We got there, and we were hanging out at the bar, and I couldn't like see any of the people that I brought gifts for. So yeah, so like all I know is that we ended up at the bar. The next day, everybody was complaining about how like there was no reason for us to go out there. We could have done this at any bar in Anaheim. We didn't need to all spend that money to get out there in Ubers, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I know.
Right. Because I did understood it like, it was a birthday party or whatever, and it was gonna be a big deal or whatever. But like I'm the type of person that if you tell me like, oh no, you have to go to the other side and spend all this money, I'm like, I probably would have said no, to be really honest with you. But like that's because I do not know Shu or Blair personally, and I know the party was kind of for Shu, and I know that the organizer was Blair, so I personally wouldn't have spending all that money on someone that I do not know. But you did brought them gifts. Like, did you bought gifts for like other people or just like them?
I had identical salt shakers to the ones I gave Blair and June. I had identical ones for Sargon and Dave, but I never got around to giving it to them. Like I still have them.
You got Sargon a dick.
Yeah, I thought it would be.
Shaker?
I thought it would be funny. I thought it would be funny because, like, you know how there's like that joke about when somebody is being salty online.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay.
You know, so I thought
you.
that would be really funny. And especially like the reason that I got like Sargon and Dave, like the ones, was because of the whole like silly like spat that they had a while ago about Sargonism and all that. And I was like, oh, you guys put it behind you. Congratulations. Like now you guys can be salty from afar and stuff like that. I did give Sargon his Kek pin, and I made him a Kekistani flag pin, which you can see him wear in the picture that we took together. I don't know, like I got like silly things that would like mostly things that make people smile. It's the same way that I give gifts in like my real life. Like I never really buy
Right.
someone a present unless I know they're going to enjoy it. And sometimes I forgo buying a present or to make something for somebody that they'll enjoy more than something that I bought them.
I have a question though, because the chat is talking about it. Is Friended comfortable with
Yeah,
with
he goes by Adam all the time.
okay, because I don't want to give anyone's dogs as little as it may be, you know,
No,
'cause that's
he
not what we do here.
he starts his videos sometimes with like, "Hey, it's Adam," so it's fine.
Okay, all right. Just to clear that up, because the chat was like, "Hey, don't name drop like that." All right, but we got that out of the way. That's important. So, but they were not really your friends. Like, did you talk to them prior to the
Um,
party?
I was part of the like, and Jeff was there too. I think I'm pretty sure my memory isn't failing me. Like Jeff, who's in the chat right now, he we were all part of like this big group that happened, and we all ended up going to, I think, the Cheesecake Factory. And this was another one of those situations where I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to my hotel, because if you look at the map, the Cheesecake Factory is like 3 doors down from the Motel 8. So I'm like, I'm just going to go shower. And I was doing a lot of that because California is really fucking hot. I don't know if I would survive in Mexico because I was just constantly taking showers. But this was another one of those times that I ducked out. There were too many people around me. But that was the first time that I'd seen June was running around hugging people and signing things. And this was around the time that Greg really pissed off a bunch of people. And I heard about it later, about how he was being like, they said he was being really pretentious, like coming up to content creators and being like, "Oh, are you a fan of mine? Do you want me to sign anything?" And people were getting really mad at that.
Okay, but maybe that was just like a joke, you know?
Yeah, it could have been a joke, but it really pissed some people off. Like they got drunk later, and they were like, they would not have it. Like they were going on tirades about how inappropriate that was, and I'm just sitting there going like, "Oh my god, nobody fight, nobody fight, nobody fight."
Man, because like here's the thing, right? Like back in the day, I was like always hopping on different live streams and hangouts and whatnot. And then I would hop on somebody else's hangout, you know, because I was invited by a friend or whatever. And then if there was no people that didn't knew me, I would be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't talk to people that are not subscribed to me." And you know, it was a joke, but some people took it super serious. And until this day, like people are like, "Oh, Queenie is a bitch because she used to say this shit and whatever." And it's like, no, like literally, it was just a joke. And I think that maybe he also did it as a joke. I do not know. I don't know him personally or anything, but I'm willing to accept it was probably a joke. And even if it was like a bad joke or like it annoyed people, like a joke is a joke, and I don't see that as like a
Yeah,
major offense.
I think it was a joke in poor taste, honestly, but it was a joke. So for example, like I was up putting those cards down.
The Kekistan cards, right?
The Kekistan cards, yeah, on Friday.
Okay.
And I did, and so I was putting those cards down all weekend. I got 1,000 of them made, and I would put little stacks of like 20 or so cards on each table as I walked by them, like on the second floor, because the second floor is the content creator floor, so that's where I would put them. And so I remember being upstairs on the Friday, and I saw Greg. He'd gone into like a lot of the big what do you call them? The networks, the big YouTube networks, the ones that like you sign up for and they take X percentage of all of your earnings.
Yeah, multi-channel networks or networks.
Yeah, that's it. So one of the big multi-channel networks, I don't remember their name. I walked into that room to put cards down on the table in there, and I saw Greg in there, and I was like, "Hey, would you like a privilege card?" and he said to me, "Oh, do you want me to sign this for you?" And I just looked at him and I went, "Asshole, like, it's a privilege card, it's for you." And even later on when I was up in the room, like, he acknowledged the fact that I was the girl who gave him the privilege card. So this whole claim that, like, they had no idea who I was, some rando off the street, is just like, it holds no fucking water.
Right, but like, you know, you kind of like made the thing that you had a small interaction with Armor Skeptic, right? And he wasn't really with June or Blair.
No, he was on his own in the room. I mean, I don't know, maybe June or Blair were in the room too. I didn't notice. I walked in, I put cards down, I gave him a card, I left.
Mm-hmm.
I had only gone upstairs. The only reasons that I was ever upstairs was to, I went upstairs to talk to the Adobe people. Like, the Adobe people had set up a section of the second floor, and I wanted to talk to them about some of the glitches that I've experienced on Premiere Pro, because that's the editing suite that I use. I went upstairs to put cards down, and I went upstairs to go to panels that were only for creators. That's it.
Okay. No, I understand. I mean, like, truthfully, there were a lot of things in the stream that made sense to me, and then some others that didn't make sense to me. And I think that, to me, I'm just going to point it out, but this is just how I see it. Again, I was not there. I wouldn't know 100%. But the whole Andy Worski situation, it didn't fit to me. It like because during the first part of the stream, he was saying how you took his computer, you were like apparently probably checking through his Twitter, you found them eventually on the Francesca, and that you bought in the conversation. And it was literally just that, like, now she just interrupted the conversation out of nowhere, you know, like things like that. Then you enter the stream, and you know it was a shithole, but he pretty much kind of backtracked and changed that little part of the story because you said, I asked for permission. And then he says, well, I regret it. And it's like, I don't think that's how it works, honey. Like, yes, you can regret giving permission to someone about something. That's completely fine. But I also feel like that's not on them. That's on you. You know, you regret it because you gave the permission. And that was your decision to make. I mean, personally, if I think that this conversation is super important and I just want it to be one-on-one, and somebody comes on and says, hey, can I join? I'll probably say no. And I don't care if I look like an asshole. Like, if I think it's not the right time or the right moment, I will say no. And
yeah, I don't know. Like, you have to keep in mind, like, I'm Canadian. I'm equally as, like, please everybody be super polite as, I don't know, I'm guessing Andy is because he's saying, like, I'm just a nice guy. But if somebody's coming in on a conversation that I'm having and is like, hey, do you mind if I sit down? I'll be like, you know what? Like, I'd love for you to, but do you mind just giving me like 10, 15 minutes over here and I'll be right with you. Like, I promise. Like, like something like that. I'm not a mind reader. Like, my boyfriend and I have fights all the time, and by fights I mean, like, one of us will say, like, why didn't you say that to me before? I'm not a mind reader. And like, one of us will be like, you know what, you're right, never mind. So it's like, you can't expect me to read your mind. And also, I find it very similar to like you know how the girls that like they regret having sex the next day and they're like, that was rape because I regret it. It's like, no, that's not how it works. At the time, you have to say, no, I didn't want it. I'm not comfortable with this. You don't get to turn around afterwards and be like, you know what, that thing that happened, I'm not okay with it.
Yeah, like, to me, it's like, if you are conscious enough to give consent and you give consent, and then you regret it, that's on you. You know, because like awkward bad sex happens and it's unfortunate, but that's just life. You know, it just fucking happens and it sucks. But you know, that doesn't mean that you just can revoke it, or like you can just say, oh no, this person like just did it. You know, it's like, no, that was not the case. And I think that I do not know why he said that. I also did not understood. Like, listen, I don't want to be rude to anyone, but I'm just gonna point out and be honest with you. that I wouldn't lend my laptop to anybody, and nobody has permission to borrow like or lend my laptop to anybody. Like not even my husband can. Like, and I told him like as we were watching the stream, I just turned around. I was like, if we ever like go to a convention like that and somebody asks permission to use my laptop, just so you know, you don't have permission to like give permission of using my laptop. That's just not gonna happen, dude. Like my laptop is my laptop. If somebody wants to use it, they have to come to me and ask me permission, you know?
Yeah,
and like there were two situations. The reason why I bring it up is that there were two situations, two allegations apparently, that I think Mem's Holiday, I'm not sure, but she said that in the comment section somewhere. She could have probably got it wrong, I don't know, but she said that Andy gave you permission directly for the laptop, and then somebody else in the stream might remember that Chris gave you permission to use the laptop. So
I honestly, I didn't know that it was Andy's laptop until the allegations started coming out, because when I had gone upstairs to use the bathroom, I'd said to Chris, because Chris was the one I came upstairs with, being like, hey, you know that footage of the Anita Sarkeesian thing and the stuff that I recorded of Franny, like, do you want that footage? You guys said you wanted it. And he said, yeah, totally. And he brought me a laptop. So I'm like, oh, it's Chris's laptop. So I put my stick in, I'm transferring the data. And it's like, I was completely under the impression it was Chris's laptop. Not that it really matters, because somebody brought me a laptop. I was transferring. I didn't even open anything before I went like, hey, while I'm waiting for this to transfer, can I use the internet? And Chris is like, yeah. And then he comes over, he launches a Google Chrome window, and I'm like, hey, can you like open an incognito so that I can like not have to log out of all this stuff? And he's like, yeah. And he like opens an incognito window, and I only use the incognito window. And I'm just going to open this one thing, and I'm going to screen share it with you, because a lot of people have been DMing me asking for it. So I thought I'd share it here.
But what is it about?
It's my, here it is, screen share. So it's my, I don't want there to be like an endless screen. This is the, like, every time I sign into my account, there's a little receipt that I get to my email that shows like when and where I logged into my account. So like right here, you can see that I logged into Chrome on Windows at 4 p.m. on the 24th. This is where I signed into Andy's computer. And you can even see, if you go on my channel, that the first part of 4 of the Anita Sarkeesian panel are uploaded at this time. So I did nothing other than this. And if Andy wants to show that I was like going on his DMs on Twitter and everything, he can go to 4:07 p.m. on June 24th, and he can see in his history that there's no activity, because I didn't touch anything other than that Chrome window.
Right. You know what? It's just like, I feel that all of us, like as humans, sometimes we see coincidences and we start seeing patterns, you know, and then we start saying like, oh no, this totally happened this way. I feel like it was probably Andy's situation where, you know, he probably didn't thought anything at it first, but then on the end of it all, where people start talking about all these coincidences, people start saying, oh no, it's because it's not only a coincidence, and I was also affected somehow. But I feel like if you, and I said on Twitter, if you say something is true, you have to prove it. And because the burden of proof falls on you. If you're making the accusation that somebody is like hacking you, prove it. Like, you know, because right now it's just going on the assumption that it probably happened, but coincidences also happen, dude. And like, I would only say, like, come on, like, be a little more like skeptical a little bit. I don't know how to say it, but understand that that's not hard evidence to accuse somebody like that. That's just my opinion. And really quickly, Dinosaur with 42 heads, thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm gonna get shot for saying these, but what the heck is going on? Something about Blair Stream 100 on Uber. I'm really confused. Please clarify. Dinosaur, basically just a quick rundown. It's about the drama that was going on at VidCon. There were a lot of accusations thrown different ways, and we're just trying to talk to crayzeehair about it because she was pretty much the person that's being accused of things. So we're just trying to like make up what's going on, and you can catch up on that. I'm sure there's plenty of mirrors about the live stream and all that stuff online.
I have a couple of the mirrors linked in the description of my explanation video.
Mhm.
And as those go down, because I do know that some people have messaged me telling me that their videos have been removed due to like claims. So as those go down, I'm uploading like links to some more like on that description. So I am keeping it as current as possible just so that people have the whole story, because I'm a big believer in like, and I totally understand, like, for example, I think that Black Knight Fool, who's in your chat, like some
Yes.
people are like they're dead set on one position, and that's okay. Like you are a free person in a free world, and you're allowed to come to whatever conclusion you want to come to, but just come to that conclusion after examining all the facts.
Yeah. Also, Jeans, of course we will hang out at VidCon next year. Like, that's 100%. I always think, like, I was watching, by the way, just as a side thing, I was watching Gina's stream like crazy over her like whole VidCon coverage, and I was like, girl, we could have hung out, we could have like gone out. That would have been so cool. So like, you know, I'm working really hard to go to VidCon next year because of that. I was like, girl, yes, we could have at least met. So cool. She's actually a really cool person, really cool YouTuber. So if anybody feels like subscribing to her, trust me, you won't regret it. She's like so cool and so insightful. I love her. But anyways, moving on. I do want to get to the part of the to the part of the party and the part of the suite, because to me it's where everything came crashing down.
I don't think so.
Right?
I don't think so. I want to state that personally, in my opinion, I don't think that everything came crashing down until Jeff, who I considered a friend of mine, went upstairs to tell them that their behavior was unacceptable. And then the next day, when he was sitting with me and Memory Holiday and Chris Worski, and he was telling me about what happened upstairs. And just to be clear, and I don't know how many times I'm going to have to repeat this until it's actually clear, I never said that they were on cocaine. Jeff told me that as a former drug addict himself, or a former drug user himself, they were on some kind of substance, probably cocaine. This his words, not mine.
All right.
And,
so
and you know what? And the only reason that I'm saying that is to excuse, like, maybe this behavior isn't like under their control. Maybe this behavior is a little out of their control. And by they, I mean the only person that actually I was told about this weird reaction was Greg, how he tried to fight Jeff.
Okay. Because I also saw and I was talking about it before you joined, your latest video on the situation that it's called Here's My Confession. I think I posted it. Either I posted your channel or I posted the video on the description of the video. If anybody wants to watch that, you're welcome in 15 minutes. So do take your time. I was working at the same time, like listening, so I was on and off. And I did not like, I think you did make like a quick mention of the cocaine part and the drug part. Personally, all right, like I don't give a fuck who does what at the privacy of their property or rented place, but that's just me. And I understand that now that you say it, like it's because you were trying to justify a behavior. But I do not know if you have seen the responses on Twitter or the responses that you've had as well on your comment section of your video. Have you?
Honestly, and here's the thing, that I'm in a place where I'm being bombarded constantly with a lot of negativity. I don't want to call it bullying, because the definition of bullying is persistent from the same source and wanting to do damage. So that's bullying. What I'm experiencing right now, it's not bullying, and I want that to be very clear. I absolutely despise the Sarkeesian people that are like, everybody is bullying me online. Like, I'm not being bullied right now. I'm not. I want that to be 100% clear. What's happening right now is a negative reaction to a situation. People are allowed to have their own opinion. That's okay. But it's not bullying, and it's also not harassment. Harassment is consistent, persistent, personal. This is not harassment. So if people want to troll me online, that's cool. If people want to shitpost about me online, that's up to them. But it's my right to ignore that. And so when I see that somebody sent me a negative comment or made a negative comment, I don't really read it until the end. Like, I read it until I realize, like, oh, you're just a mean person. And then I move on to the next comment. And like, oh, you're a mean person too. And you move on to the next comment. So that's where I am. Like, a lot of people have sent me negative stuff that I've never read just because I've seen them. Like, I have these people that are consistently posting on every single one of my videos. And when I see that username, I just ignore it because it's like, well, nothing constructive is going to come of this. So that's what I want to like stand on. Yes, I have seen the negative backlash about it. I just don't really pay attention to it, I guess, because like, what's the point? There's going to be no constructive anything coming from it.
Yeah, just like a really quick thing, by the way, because I'm seeing the chat go up in flames. Not really, I'm just exaggerating, guys. But basically, I just want to state something that I know from experience of other content creators, that it is a common thing to create like these little cards and leave them in every room, especially when you're a small content creator and you wanna put yourself out there. Now, Naomi, decided to do the Kekistan privilege cards, but other people do different cards of different things and go room to room to put them and place them in. So it's totally possible for her to stumble on that room and, get in the conversation. Now, again, like, if Andy didn't want anybody to butt in the conversation, he should have just said no another day. And that's just me. Like, I don't think there was any evidence to prove that she was actually actively looking for them, or that she actively hack his Twitter and check his DM. Like, there's no evidence for this. Like, absolutely no evidence. And you can believe whatever you want based on what you have. But I think it's a little, like, there's things that are more possible that has been said than this. Like, this, to me it does not make sense. I think they, the accusation that she went on and hacked and shit like that, to me it doesn't seem very possible. I think he's just trying to connect dots where there's no need. But that's just my perspective. I may be totally wrong about this, by the way. I was not there, so I do not know, but that's just how I see it. And I mean, I just, like, the reason why I brought up, by the way, coming back to the topic of the comments and so on, the reason why I brought up the comments, right, is because there has been some people that have come out and, criticized or really challenged your perspective or your recollection of things that day. And you did say as well, I think even on the stream, that you were a little drunk yourself.
I was tipsy. I was tipsy for sure. I was definitely tipsy. And that's the thing, that I'm coming to everybody from a position of, I'm being as honest as my brain will, like, allow me to recollect. And if people want to call me a liar or say that I'm, like, deceiving or emotionally manipulating, by the way, like, Bunty was completely, like, a lot of people have come to me and been like, oh, he was so like collected in that stream. Like, no, he was there to throw fuel on the fire. Like, he was there to scream, she's emotionally manipulating everybody. And it's like, that doesn't help. First of all, I'm not. Second of all, everybody that knew me before VidCon, you'll notice there's a common theme, that they're all like, she's not like this. So like I don't really care what he thinks. To me, he's just like trying to latch on to like this situation for celebrity or more like Twitter followers or whatever.
Wait, you think that he's using the situation for Twitter
Not the
followers?
situation. I think that he's using VidCon and the connections that he made at VidCon to get more Twitter followers, to get more like notoriety. And that's okay. You know, like if that's what it says is important to him. And the reason, I mean, I didn't think this until the stream.
Okay.
The reason that I think that it's like this is because out of nowhere, and I say this as a half Arab person, like my mom is like Yemeni, like there's a civil war going on there right now.
Uh-huh.
Out of nowhere in the stream, he was like, I've dealt with racism for this many years and blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, this has nothing to do with what we're dealing with right now. You're just randomly like throwing out racism like for no reason. Obviously, you've got some kind of ulterior motive. That's fine. But like
right, but like I'm sorry that I interrupted you. I'm so sorry.
no, it's
but
okay. It's okay.
just really quickly, it's because I think that may be reaching, and the reason is because Bunty was had this race of popularity because of the whole Tariq situation of getting banned, and so I think like, you know, it would be a little like I don't know how to say it in English. I'm sorry,
It's
but
okay. Say it
I
in
think it's
Spanish. I speak a little bit of Spanish.
well, I'll try to like translate as much as I can. I think it may be a little like dishonest to say that people don't go to VidCon to network, and I think he definitely did, and I would like. And I said it before the stream. I want to go to VidCon next year. I want to like. I'm working out. I'm earning my money, girl. I'm like, I want to look super hot when I'm there. But why? Because I want to network with all these people. Because I want to grow my channel. And I think like everybody that goes to VidCon, it's to network. Like we all want to go there to network and to meet fans and the ego boost and whatever, but also to network and meet new content creators that we find interesting and whatnot. Sure, like there's the added bonus of like meeting the people that you know online for years, then you want to like, you know, hang out with your friends online in real life. That's pretty awesome. But like, let's be honest, VidCon is a convention for content creators to network. So I like, I think that he legit had some good connections with like Blair White and Shu and all these other people, Andy Warski and whatnot. And I don't think that it's necessarily like he's using it, but like that's what VidCon is for. It's networking. So, you know, like I don't see it like a bad thing. I don't think that he's like abusing the situation to make a point, like, or to make himself more famous, because I feel he doesn't need it. Like truthfully, I think that Bunty could still continue his growth without even participating in the stream that you were on, or like the Blair White stream. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I'm still going to believe what my brain comes to a conclusion on.
Right.
So we can agree to disagree on this, but me sitting where I am, that's what it looks like to me. And if it
Right,
isn't, and if it isn't, I'm completely willing to change my perception based on future evidence. But as of right now, the evidence that I have to go on indicates that to me.
Okay, but like, can we at least agree that VidCon is a convention for YouTubers to network?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which is
Okay.
why when I went there and I networked and I did this, like what shocked me the most was that people were like, "Oh, you were stalking us. You were carrying a weapon and you were stalking us. You were hacking our DMs. You were doing all this stuff." And it's like, dude, like I was just being friendly with you, and then people being like, "You're not our friend." I'm like, I'm not. I was being friendly with you. Like that's what we were all doing there, I thought. So
I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I understand the situation. The only thing that there are a few things in the suite that the reason why I also, again, going back to the comment section, brought up, it's because there were a few things that challenged what you said in the video, and I would like to bring them up, not to like, again, not to bash you or whatnot, but like to have
No,
your
it's fine.
idea challenged, and like so you're able and have a chance to truly like be exposed to them in a situation where you can actually have a fair chance to respond, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
All right. So, I mean, you said like about the Coke situation and so on, and how they kicked you out, like, you know, rudely. Like, what exactly was the way they told you to leave? You know, in your recollection of the situation.
If anybody wants to see me leaving, I was told that June put out a video of
Yeah.
that. I was not aware of that video being recorded, by the way, just as a statement. But I really want her to release the 2 minutes that come before that and the 2 minutes that come after that 40-second video. And if she doesn't, then at least they should give me permission to release the recording I have of the 6 minutes that come after.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, as far as, oh, did I disconnected my camera? That's good. Good job, Queenie. Because I was moving. God damn it, fucking camera. Give me 1 second, guys. Just to plug it in again. Come on, baby. But anyways, let me continue as I try to fix the camera shit. I think that because there's like the perspective that, oh, did it come back? Okay, it did come back. Okay, good job, good boy. Anyways, I think that you painted a perspective where they kicked you out rudely and whatnot, and also I think that it's a different situation from, you know, you weren't really while you were invited to come in at first, people definitely felt like you shouldn't be there, and the room belonged to Blair, and Blair invited Shu in, and clearly they were friends. And I think it's a different situation if the person invited is recording versus the person uninvited is recording. And I think it's a very different legal situation where you're outside of a room recording conversations.
And I
Right?
understand. I completely understand the outrage that is coming from that. On the other hand,
Mhm.
I'm not keeping it a secret. I am very glad that I have that recording, because with everything that happened afterwards, I was able to sit down and clean up that recording in Premiere Pro and listen to it. And now I know that what I heard was what I heard, like that I wasn't just imagining things. Because if I hadn't had that recording and people would be saying the things that they're saying, I would be sitting here thinking, like, you know what? Maybe I am crazy. Maybe they never said that stuff. But I listened to it, and yes, they did say that stuff. Yes, they were as cruel as I remember them being. And now at least I know, because I'm never going to put this recording out without their permission, or unless something
But
crazy
like, okay,
happens.
for example, right? Because like you definitely already took the time to clean up the recording, so it's clear what they're
Yeah.
saying and all that stuff. But on Blair White's stream, I didn't saw the whole resolution of it, but they asked you several times if you would delete it, and you kind of stayed quiet and
Yeah.
shut down. What
Yeah.
was that?
Because I hadn't decided yet what I wanted to do with that, and I'm not a person who would rather lie to make people happy. Because I want to say, yes, I'm going to delete it, or no, I'm not going to delete it, and stick to that.
And mean it, right?
I don't want to say, yeah, I'm going to delete it and then keep it. You know, like that would be dishonest, and I'm not going to do that.
But like, right. But like, here's the thing, okay? Like, to me, they did posted a video. Sean had posted a video where the situation, like you can see Blair White, by the way, it's clear, it's like just losing her shit, like just she looked so drunk, like so drunk, like she was not being malicious or anything, but she was just like, guys, I'm like tripping balls or something like that. It was so funny. But then, you know, you see Blair White's boyfriend having the door open, you standing there. It seemed like there was some tension, but not from them, but from you. And that armor skeptic was trying to like de-escalate it, being like, really, we appreciated knowing you, but we don't really know who you are. And then you seemed really tense, and you just stormed out. And it's like, no, it's okay, thanks, bye, thanks guys, bye. And you stormed out, like, you know, almost angrily, but you didn't really show it, but it definitely came across that way. So they closed the door, and they were all like, but who was she though? Like, how did she knew where we were and so on? And like that was pretty much the video. It was really really short, 40 seconds. Um, but you know, like you see the door being closed. You do see you walking like away. So it tells me that you had to come back after walking a little bit, come back and record. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I did. I was a few steps away from the door when I heard all the yelling. And the next day, Jeff Holiday told me that they had, quote unquote, stupidly confessed to him that they were speaking loudly for me to hear.
But like, okay,
So
here's the thing that like I absolutely understand your anger on this situation.
I wasn't angry. I'm still not angry.
Okay.
I'm disappointed in the way that they behaved. I'm hurt by this whole situation. But honestly, like if I saw one of them downtown Prince Edward Island, like downtown Charlottetown, I would just be like, I'm here, whatever. Like they hurt me. Stuff happened. It's over. Like as far as I'm concerned, they're not worth interacting with. Like I'm done with them. It's over. In the same way as like anybody who's hurt me in my life, like it's over. You put it away.
Right.
Because if you sit around, you think about it, and you get sad, and you cry, and you get sad, like what's the point of that? What kind of constructive behavior is there?
Well, I mean, like to move on, you do sometimes have to cry and sometimes accept that you're hurt, and that way then you can move on, you know? So
Yeah, I was hurt. It was very disappointing, especially, and the parts that were disappointing were unexpected. So their behavior so much wasn't disappointing. Memory Holiday making the video that she had where she accused me of the things that she had accused me of, that was the most disappointing because I considered her a friend and I had gone to her before when I'd had panic attacks and so on and so forth. And Justin Vernaculous's behavior disappointed me because I thought, like, as a person who I'd extended my like hospitality to, would have said, hey, like I gave her the room number. That's how she made it up there. She wasn't some crazy hacker person who pretended to be Blair in order to get the room number. I expected that. And also I'm a little bit, but not as much, disappointed in Chris Worski because he could have said to Andy, like, hey, I gave her permission to use the laptop. Like, and we opened an incognito Chrome browser together.
well,
and,
I do think that he understands that.
Wait,
by the way.
one
Yeah,
moment.
sorry.
Like, and one moment. And I also, like, I wanted Chris Worski as the rational, and he's a rational, nice guy. And I want nobody to misunderstand. Vernaculous is a super nice guy. Like, well, that's why I'm disappointed in them, because I expected Chris Worski to be like, hey, Andy, let's go into your browser history and check to see what she was doing at the time. Like, let's test this theory as quote unquote skeptics, you know? And so those three are the people that I'm disappointed in the most, the people that when I think of them, my chest hurts a little bit. But other than that, I'm just like, wow, like just amazed and disappointed, not so much hurt and disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand what you mean, but I also think that in the beginning of the live stream, you said that there was a few people that told you they couldn't support you publicly.
Yeah.
And I think that from what I've seen, because I kind of followed up on the whole situation, I think that Vernaculus didn't want to be involved at all. And he even left you a comment on your recent video. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't see it because I'm not reading them anymore.
Okay, well, he said, that he didn't really appreciate the name dropping because he just didn't want to be part of the immature drama, and that he finds this immature drama. And I do think he means it in the sense that he didn't want to be involved, period. And that, name dropping him and like putting him like in this standard of, you should have come out publicly and defended me. I think it's a little...
Not publicly, but when their little meeting, like Andy talked about their meeting on Saturday and how they all got together and pieced everything together about how it was a crazy, awesome FBI hacker who got into his DMs and did all this crazy shit. Like at that moment, Justin should have stood up and been like, hey, I've been staying with her. This is what like happened. I gave her the room number, blah, 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 blah. And that would have kind of nipped it in the bud. And I would have been like, oh, okay. And even if they would have called me, like half of them had my phone number to be like, hey, can you grab all of your equipment? I mean, all of your equipment, like every single memory card you have, everything. Put it in your camera bag and come over here right now. I would have been like, okay, this is weird, but okay, I'm coming. And I would have come over and they could have put in every single memory card I have. They could have hooked up every single, like, they could have hooked up my action camera. They could have hooked up my phone. They could have hooked up my DSLR and been like, what is on here? What isn't on here? And seen that like half of the shit that they're claiming that I recorded isn't on there. The only thing that I recorded was the audio from the incident outside the hotel room. And that would have been the end of that. But instead of acting like adults, instead of acting like skeptics, instead of having a conversation the way that they preach all the time, they went for this crazy, like, let's put it out in public, let's like go crazy about this type situation. And when you get to that situation, you have to name drop. You have to say like, you know what? I didn't pretend to be you, Blair White. I asked Vernaculus what your room number was so I could give you presents. He said 1212. And if he doesn't want to be involved in it, too fucking bad. When you're a witness to something, you're inadvertently pulled into that because, you know, like you're a witness and that's all that can be done.
Well, but you're a witness only if you choose to. Like, I mean, you could have witnessed something, but it's up to you if you speak out or not. I think he made a decision. And
how would you act? Let me ask you. And I'm not being mad, I'm not accusing, I'm not anything, but if somebody was accusing you of something outlandish and you knew that somebody specific that the person accusing you like knew that, like what would you do in that situation?
Oh, girl.
Especially considering, keep in mind that these people are not talking to you. These people do not want to have a conversation with you. You have no line to these people. Like, what would you do? Honestly, I'm asking.
I'm going to be really honest, and I know that you're asking because you do not know me or my history on YouTube, and that's completely fine. But, like, dude, like I'm the queen of drama sometimes, you know? I think that I've been in plenty of situations throughout my years on YouTube where people have assumed things because it comes from a reliable source to them. And so because of that, they paint a picture of like, oh, Queenie's a fucking bitch, you know? And what I do in those situations is the only thing that I can do. And I think the only anybody could do is just move on. Like, to me, I've had plenty of friends who have told me like, I understand, but I don't want to be involved, or like, I know somebody saw something, they know better and they're not speaking out. It's up to them. And I think that it tells me more of my relationship with them for myself, not for my public view or opinions or anything, but like for myself and my personal relationships, and how I approach people in the future than anything else. And I think like if I was in that situation, of course I would be like, oh well, that fucking sucks, you know? But I think that I wouldn't have name drop anybody. I think that because they are not talking about it for a reason, and they just maybe like the way I saw Vernaculus behave, and the only reason why I'm bringing him up is because he has already been brought up.
Mhm.
But I think that the way I saw him behave on Twitter and so on was like, I don't even want to touch this. I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to, give opinions on it, like nothing, and we do not truly know what happened on that meeting that you said. Like maybe he did say something, maybe he didn't say something, but I do know because it was mentioned, I believe, on Blair's stream that he did not want to be involved. And he said it to them and they respected that. So like,
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming from, and I appreciate your position. I do not regret bringing up Vernaculus because it was if I hadn't brought him up, the crazy notion of I went to somebody and impersonated Blair to get a key card to break into the elevator to get up to the next floor would have continued to happen. And me saying, hey, Vernaculus gave me the room number, just shut that shit down, because he did.
I understand that, but I think it could have been done a different way. Because, like,
How?
they DM.
If they had come to me in private, and this is all I wanted from the beginning. I wanted them on Saturday when they were having their little crazy Naomi did all this shit meeting. They should have come to me. They all had my phone, like, not they all had my phone number. The majority of them had my phone number. They had access to my phone number. They could have texted me, been like, hey, Naomi, can you cross the street and like bring all this shit and answer some questions? And I would have answered some questions. Even if they hadn't told me to come over, they would have said like, can you answer these questions? And I would have. But instead, the way that I had to find out about it was people commenting on my YouTube, like, it's like, what, why?
It's just, I feel like, I think, like, making that video put them in a strange position. And I would have felt the same way if it was them. Like, there's this person that we're piecing things together. And again, I'm not saying that they were right to do so, but I am saying that I kind of understand when you're in an emotional position. And, like, the people saying, like, oh, well, they're skeptics, they should know better. Like, we are not 100% skeptical of everything. We all have biases, and we all have, emotional responses to something. Like, we're human. We are supposed to be balance between rationality and emotion. It comes from the same goddamn organ of your body. And understand that, like, there's some sort of like thought before the emotion, and an emotion of the thought. So I think like it's important to put it together and understand that in their situation they were putting these pieces together, and they probably thought, this is not the person we want to talk to. This is not the person that we want to relate to, because we are a little like concerned of this person's intentions. And furthermore, that you said that you had like a blade that you wanted to test on TSA, right?
No. Okay. So let me address the crafting knife, because I think who said that? Skylo216 says, please address the retractable blade on the flight. That shit bothers me. Okay. So Skylo, you obviously haven't watched my response video because I did address the whole thing. I have this retractable crafting blade. The blade is about 1/2 inch long. It's pretty much one of those screw in, screw outs retractable crafting blades, if you've ever owned one. and it's like blue. It's a blue cylindrical thing about the width of a Sharpie. If you've ever had one of those.
Mhm.
And what happened was that it was on the bottom of my denier purse, and all of like the other shit that you usually carry in your purse, like tissue and bullshit, like it's all in my purse. And I didn't clean out my purse before going. But when I was past security on Prince Edward Island, when I was on the flight, I was cleaning out my purse, like, oh, what am I going to throw out? Like, what's the bullshit in here? And any woman who's been in my position has been like, why the fuck is this in my purse? So I was cleaning it out. And then at the bottom, I noticed that this crafting knife is there, thinking like, how the fuck did this get through security? Now, keep in mind, like when I went through security, this is something that I didn't say on my own video because it was just rambly bullshit that doesn't really matter. The couple in front of me was getting searched because they had jam in their bag. Like they were getting stopped for jam. So I thought like, yeah, nothing's getting through these guys. I just like went through security. I organized my purse and I found this crafting knife at the bottom of my purse. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, like how do they not fucking catch this? So I thought, you know what? I remember reading all these articles about how the TSA like doesn't catch like 80% of the shit that goes through the airport. I wonder if the American TSA will find this. So instead of taking the blade out and throwing it away, I thought, oh, let's just like leave it exactly where it was and see if the TSA catch it, because I was like, let's test this theory. What's a better way, right? Like just leave it exactly where it was. And this is exactly the way that I told it to Memory. And the only reason I told Memory Holiday the story was because she told me about how Jeff Holiday's boots were considered a weapon by the TSA. Otherwise, I would have never brought this shit up. And so I went through the American TSA. Nothing happened. Like they scanned my bag, they told me to take my shoes off, nothing happened, and I go through and the crafting blade stayed in my purse the whole time. I flew to Los Angeles. I didn't even think about it again until I was packing up to leave Los Angeles when I was like, I should put this crafting bag in my checked baggage. That's it. That's it. That's the whole story.
No, I understand that, but like, you know, maybe again, this is my bias, like maybe I'm from Mexico, I wouldn't play with that shit. Like I wouldn't like if it happened like an accident, right? And I was like, oh shit, I by mistake have this thing that I know it's illegal, that I know it's considered a weapon, it's gonna get me out of trouble, I'm gonna fucking throw it. You know, I'm gonna throw it because I know it's gonna get me in trouble. And they won't care. Police won't care if you tell them, oh no, I was just trying to test how good the security is.
No,
like,
I wouldn't have told them that.
That's not an
honestly,
excuse, right?
If they would have found the knife, I would have been like, oops, I'm sorry. Like I didn't know it was in there. But honestly, like I'm from Canada. I was
getting
born
in trouble for like that.
I honestly, like maybe that's my North American privilege. I'll acknowledge that. Maybe it's my North American privilege. But as a person who was born in England, who's white passing, who has a Canadian accent, like I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, whatever. They find the crafting knife, I'll be like, oops, it was in my purse. That's it.
But like that oops, my point is like that oops wouldn't be like, oh, hilarious, you know, go and continue. Like they wouldn't have done that. You know, like if they would have found it, you would have been in trouble, and there's no excuses for them. No, I don't care. Like,
I don't think I would have been in trouble, but maybe that comes from the fact that I'm a North American like person. I don't like, honestly, they've confiscated shit from me before when I've accidentally packed my big toothpaste in my carry-on instead of my little toothpaste. Like I've never thought of it as like a thing. Like they've tried to confiscate my what's that thing? It's not knitting, it's crocheting. They've tried to confiscate my crocheting needle when I've been like crocheting on an airplane, and I've been like, no, I'm crocheting, don't take my needle. And they've let me keep like a really sharp object on an airplane because I've been like, please let me keep my crocheting needle. So I didn't think of it.
That needle, I mean, it's a different situation, isn't it? Like this is like almost a knife.
It's a crafting knife, yeah. And honestly, like, keep this in mind, okay? I honestly didn't think that it was a big deal, to the point that I was like, oh, Jeff Holiday brought spikes on his boots. Like, haha, like the TSA like didn't catch this crafting knife that I didn't notice I got through Canadian security, and then I tried to get through, like, to see if it would go through American security. At no point did the crafting knife leave my purse. Like, it wasn't a weapon. It's just a fucking crafting knife I carry around in my purse because I open boxes. I like to cut things in straight lines using metal rulers. I don't know if you've ever done that. Like, that's what I use it for. So I was just like, whatever. And if people want to blow this out of proportion, that I had a weapon, that I smuggled something onto an airplane, that blah, 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 then, like, that's fine. But I know what the truth is.
No, I think like, that would be reaching, because I do feel, and I'm sorry if that sounds awful, but I do feel that if you really wanted to do something, you could have. And you have plenty of opportunities. If you really wanted to do something with that and hurt someone, you would have been able to. So I don't think you put it there maliciously, like as in a purpose to actually hurt someone. But I just do not. I personally don't play with like American security in airports. Like, uh, I just wouldn't risk it. I wouldn't risk my tourist visa for it. I wouldn't, like, it's too much trouble. And it's not like a thing of like, I don't think that in a situation like that you could have been easily gotten away with, like, oh, I just forgot I had it, oopsie. Like, I don't think it would have been like, oh, okay, sure, or whatever. Like, I don't think so.
Let me tell you about, and at the risk of digging myself deeper, just because, Queenie, you seem like a good person, so I'm going to talk to you as if, like, the fucking chat isn't even here. But when I first, like, 3 years ago now, 3 years ago when I moved to Prince Edward Island from Toronto, I had all of my stuff shipped in something called a U-Box. I don't know if you guys have it down in Mexico. Pretty much you pack all your shit into this, like, little square orange box thing, and they ship it across the country in these freight things. And so I packed up all my shit in this U-Box, and I only had, like, what I had on me and my dog, and I got on a flight. And when I got through, and my dog's allowed on the airplane, so we got through the first layer of security, and we were going through the second layer of security, and they made me take her like her collar, her leash, her, like, backpack off and everything. So of course she thinks she's a puppy, and she's, like, running around saying hello to everybody when she doesn't have her jacket on. And I'm going through, and they find a what's it called, a Swiss Army knife thing in my bags, because I'm carrying my backpacking bag from New Zealand, and I guess it was, like, in one of those hidden pockets. And so when they found it, they said, like, hey, like, you have this Swiss Army knife on you. What do you want to do with it? They said, you can either leave it with us, or you can go back through security and you can go to the Canada Post station and you can mail it to yourself. And I said, I'd like to mail it to myself. So all I did was, like, I went back out through security, mailed the Swiss Army knife to myself, and went back in line. Like, it was no big deal. And the person behind me had, like, a Swiss Army knife as well, and they decided to just chuck it instead of keep it. But because I had bought mine in New Zealand, it was kind of like something that I kept, like, I decided to keep. And so, like, it wasn't, I'm coming from this place where, like, oh, well, like, if they find it, I'll just mail it to myself, whatever. Or even, like, the specific crafting knife that they found, it's like a $3 crafting knife. I would have just been like, I'll toss the blade, I'll buy more blades when I get home, whatever.
Listen, I think we should move on from the knife situation, because okay, like, my personal take is, do not test American security at airports. In fact, don't test anybody's security at airports. They're just doing their job, and they just want to keep everyone safe. So please, like, I wouldn't recommend it. That's just my take.
Yeah,
And I think,
I also want to advocate, like, don't do this. But
all
if
right.
you do end up through the first layer of security and you're as privileged as a Canadian and you can like do it without getting in trouble, like test it and then make a video about the TSA statistics, which is something that I am planning on doing. It's one of the videos coming up of like the TSA statistics and the security of them, etc.
I wouldn't recommend that either way either. Because we have so much problems with like people getting through security and like trying to find these hacks, you know, of recruiting people that will pass security, you know, without being properly inspected. And I wouldn't promote that, and I wouldn't like tell people like, yeah, you know, test your privilege and do a BuzzFeed article about it.
if you end up like me where you've accidentally created the situation, like, and you feel comfortable, test it. And if not, and if you don't feel comfortable, don't. The thing is that like I was in a position to test a theory, and I guess my mind was like, okay, we're gonna test it. So I did. And that's it. That's all there is to it. And the only reason, again, that I told Memory about it was because she brought up how Jeff Holiday brought quote unquote a weapon in the form of the spikes on his boots onto the airplane. That's it. That's what started that conversation. That's it.
No, I understand that. But I do think that it's a different story saying the the piece of clothing that I owned was seen as a weapon versus having actually something that could have been a potential weapon and bragging about getting it through security. Like, I think they're very
not
different.
bragging, but the fact that this article was put out, when I read it, I was like, yeah, that's not fucking real. Like, there's no way that the TSA missed something like that. And so I tested the theory, and the theory turned out to be correct in my case, that they don't catch things that they should catch, and that's it.
I just say, like, to my chat, don't ever feel comfortable to do that, please. Just don't. I just care for you, and like, I don't care if you think you have privilege or not, or you're like trying to play scientific games. Please don't, because like you're putting other people in danger, and you just like don't like just don't. Anyways, let's move on from the knife thing, because I think we're not getting anywhere with that.
Yeah, so I think we need to agree to disagree on that and just move on.
Yeah, so let's go back to the sweet thing, because you did left and then came back to record, and I really want to know, like, why would you come back to record what was from the outside?
I got a couple steps away before like I heard all of that happening, and so I went back and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Because you have to remember, like, up until this moment, I'm thinking, okay, Blair's boyfriend's a bit of a douchebag, but like the rest of them, like, they're cool people, whatever, like, it's over. I left thinking like Blair's boyfriend's a douchebag. That's it. And I should say Blair's new boyfriend is a douchebag. And I left, and then I heard all that garbage happening behind me, and I like turned around and I'm like, no way I'm hearing what I'm hearing. So I like walked back and I stood there, and as I'm hearing all this shit, like, of course, like, I start crying because I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And once I realized, hey, I can't believe what I'm hearing, I thought, hey, nobody else is going to believe what I'm hearing. So I turned on my recorder thinking, like, nobody else is going to believe this. And so when Memory messaged me and she's like, why did you record? And I said, because nobody would believe me. I think what she thought she was asking was, why would you record them in the room because at the time, I guess they thought I was recording, like that I'd come into the room with the recorder on, like videotaping them and shit. But that never happened. Like the only time I ever recorded was when I was outside. Like
It's still like
people,
illegal.
no, I wanna make it very clear to people. I understand that what I did was not okay, but I don't regret doing what I did, because when all of this was happening and people were like, "You're crazy," like none of this happened. I was able to go on Premiere Pro and clean it up and listen to it and be like, you know what? Everything that I remember they said is there. So I'm not crazy. They did say this shit, because if I hadn't had this recording, and I don't mean to like keep you from talking, Queenie, believe me, I'm gonna let you.
No, it's fine.
Is that I wanted, like, if I didn't have this recording, I wouldn't be able to go back and be like, I'm not crazy, like I didn't make this shit up. I would have been like, you know what, maybe they're right. Maybe they do think, maybe they are right. Maybe they never said this shit about me, but they did. And I have proof of that for me, and that's it.
But like you just mentioned two things. That you got proof for yourself, but also proof for others. That they wouldn't believe you, and you recorded it so they would believe you.
Yeah, and when I went downstairs, like they like Jeff was like immediately, like he went upstairs and he talked to them, and whatever happened happened. And now I know Mundane Matt is about to come in here like the little ambulance chaser that he is, like, oh, look at me, I'm relevant, like check out the drama that I can create. But he was like, do you have proof? And so I let him listen. And then he's like, send it to me, I'll clean it up, like blah 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 blah. Like he's all about the like.
He asked you, for proof.
Yeah,
and
because I told him I recorded it, and he's like, let me listen, I want proof. And he can say whatever he wants about how I'm lying, about how I came to him, about whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is two things. One, he listened to the recording, and then he asked me to send it to him so he could clean it up. And two, he said their behavior does not surprise me. And those two things are the important things here.
Okay, well, I do want to take something away from that. Like, there's a few things that we skipped over, but let's get into the Matt situation. All right? Because he did say, I don't know if you watched his video, but
no, I didn't,
because
he's an ambulance chaser. I don't care what he says.
Well, okay. Well, I'll tell everybody in the audience what he said. He did admit that he listened to the recording, and he did admit that he said he was not surprised by that behavior, because he had these ongoing type of feud with Armor Skeptic, right? So he admitted to it. He's like, like, I'm not. He even called an elitist, and all of them. And he admitted to doing so. So he's not saying like that's a lie, but he never said about the cleaning the recording. And he also says that he was at a bar and you came to him to pull him away and talk to him about what just happened. So in that situation, which one it is? Like, did you came to him, or?
And you know how when you relive a situation in your mind, like, and I've gone over this a bazillion times, and in my head, in the memory, I am sitting on a bench after I spoke to Jeff. Okay? I'm sitting on a bench, and Mundane Matt comes to me, and he sits down on the bench, and he asks me what's going on. And so he can say I came to him. I know I came to him, and unless I get security footage from that section of the bar, we'll never really know. But I remember what I remember, and it doesn't matter who came to who in the end, because in the end, he asks for me to send him the recording to clean it up, and he says that behavior doesn't surprise him, which are the two most important things in this whole thing.
Well, again, he did admit that he said he wasn't surprised by the behavior, but he never admitted to saying, I think, that he said that he would clean up the recording.
Actually, I think
he hasn't
I'm
said
pretty sure he did admit to that on the Skeptic Fence show, the 12-hour live stream with Joe. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that if you go through that, when he comes on and he's like, "She's a liar. She came to me," when he came to me, and also it doesn't matter who came to who. Like on that live stream, he does say that he asked for the recording to clean it up. So there's that.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look that one up because like I wasn't. I'm not familiar with that one, with that stream. So, but like to me, right? Like I'm gonna give you my position on the whole.
Yeah, that's okay. You seem
Yeah.
like a cool person. I want your perspective, even if we vehemently disagree on anything. You seem like the kind of person that I can talk to, even if I completely am diametrically opposed to you in X or Y or Z.
All right. Yeah, because like obviously I wasn't there, right? So I have my perspective from the outside, but I find it like important to talk it. And the reason why I say this is because like if I'm in a room, right, with people, and I don't know, man, like because let's be honest, like when you're with your friends, even if you're not drunk as fuck, you will start shit talking about others. And I wouldn't like somebody being in the other side of the door recording what I say, because to me, if I have negative things to say about someone online, which I do, by the way, I'm very opinionated. Come for me. But like, you know, if I have like negative thoughts to say about someone and I haven't made them public yet, they're for a reason. And I want to keep them between me and my friends and maybe my husband and so on and so forth, like whoever is there. And I expect them to stay that way. So if there's somebody that is clearly now uninvited because they're outside the door, recording what I'm saying and then saying like, I even cleaned up the recording and I want to like maybe post it online at some point, like, you know, that wouldn't help me say, oh, these people actually had like the best intention, or like even as a person on the outside, it doesn't seem like you had like the best intentions then, because I just do not understand why somebody would do it. I understand the emotion you went through, by the way. Like if so, of course, like things like that can hurt, you know, like if somebody is calling me a bitch and accusing me of shit and shit like that, of course I'm gonna be hurt. You know, that's not something nice. But I wouldn't go as far as recording, because they're entitled to say whatever they want to say about me or about anybody else in their privacy of their place and with whoever they want to. So you kind of disrupted that privacy and that right for them to say whatever they want in the place and privacy they had, you know, and now even admitted like, I don't regret it and I'm cleaning it up. And you said as well at some point in this stream that, you know, you would show it, right? You would post it on your channel if they agreed to it. But I think at this point it's pretty clear that they don't want it to be out there. So like, why still hold to it? And you know, like this thing, because it almost seemed at this point a little like blackmailing, like you have something over them that was recording without their consent in a private moment, you know, and it's their right to think and say whatever they want, you know. But now it's almost like a threat of like, I could release it whenever I want. And why would you go through all of that knowing that what you did is illegal, and you also admitted it was wrong?
Okay, you have to keep in mind that when I recorded it at that time, I did not know that what I was doing was illegal.
But now you know.
Now I know that what I did was not the cleanest of things, but I'm not going to record it, and it's not for blackmail. It's for me. It's for me knowing that what I heard was what I heard. And yes, I will post it if they give me permission. And I feel like if they actually want to vindicate themselves of they were not mean or cruel or anything to me, and everything that I'm saying is crazy, then they should give me permission to post it so that everybody can hear what actually happened. Because if it's a nothing burger, then it's a nothing burger.
Well, I don't think that they think it's a nothing. I think that they know that they probably said some things that were really rude. But I also think that they understood they were saying it without you being in the room, with you
That's not
walking
what I
away.
think. That's not what I think, because later they did tell Jeff that they were speaking loudly on purpose for me to hear.
Right. Well, like again, like I do not that know that, sorry, 100%. But what I do know is that regardless if their intent was for you to listen, like you turned back, recorded something that was happening on the privacy of the room, and that was told directly to the people inside the room. Whether you heard it or not, that's a different story. You know what I mean? And so, like this thing of saying like, oh well, they should then give me permission to post it. I don't think they're challenging the fact that they weren't rude. I think that they're just saying what you did was wrong, it was illegal, and you shouldn't hold that above our head. Like, you already know what happened. You already cleaned up the
I'm not.
recording. Wait.
They can
You already
say,
know what.
oh, sorry. Go
Just
ahead.
give me a second. You already cleaned up the recording. You already listened to it. You already know what happened. So, like, keeping it around to for what though? If you know it's illegal and that could get you in trouble if somebody ends up leaking it, because it's not the leaker that's gonna get in trouble. It's gonna be you because you recorded it, right?
Nobody except me has this recording. So
Right, but hacking happens.
I hope not. I hope not. But the thing is that, like, I stand by what I've said. I have it. I've listened to it. It vindicates me to myself. I don't really put too much weight in anybody else. Countless people have come out of the woodwork being like, give me that recording, and I'm not going to name them, but pretty much anybody that's ever had a problem with any of these 6 people has come to me and been like, give me that recording. And I've been like, no, it's not going to fucking happen. Unless I get permission from these people, I'm not posting that recording. I feel like if these people actually believe that 40-something second recording, that it's a nothing burger, they should give me permission to post it. If not, then that's fine as well. I'll hold on to it for my own sake. It's in a folder titled the way it is, like for me to listen to in the future in case I ever get like another slew of like, you're a crazy person and nothing actually happened. Like, I can just go in and listen to it again and be like, actually something did happen and I'm not crazy.
But I would like, to me, it's a little strange how you say that you're just trying to like it's information for you to understand that you were not crazy when you experienced that. You admitted you were drunk, so maybe you misunderstood something, whatnot. But now you cleaned up the recording, you listened to it, you now know you're sober, you heard it, you know what you heard, you know what it is. Yet you continue to have the recording for no reason. Like, why would you second guess yourself again? Like, I do not understand that. If you already listened to it sober, why would you be like, oh no, maybe I was crazy that time I heard it when I was sober? Like,
because
I don't understand that.
I'm not going to get rid of it thinking like, cause I'm a person who doubts myself a lot. I don't know if you also have an anxiety disorder, but my anxiety disorder, which has been diagnosed by a doctor, for those who ask, like a lot of people are messaging me on Twitter being like, you're a liar, you don't. I'm not releasing my fucking like doctor papers, but I do. And like the whole process of having the anxiety disorder is that you doubt everything. You doubt whether or not the reality is the way you is. You doubt whether or not the people that say that that love you. You doubt whether or not what you have in life is actually what you deserve. Like everything is an anxious mess of doubt. So yeah, whenever I doubt myself that like maybe this didn't happen, or maybe I'm overreacting, or maybe this isn't actually what they said, I go back and I've listened to it one time and said like, you know what? I'm not crazy. What they said was super cruel and super mean and a little bit racist. And at one point on there, one of them does use slang terms for something that is specifically used for tripping on drugs. So that is also vindicated in my mind. Like I'm not making this shit up to myself. And the only reality, the only like truth that matters to me is whether or not I believe what happened. And using this recording, I'm able to confirm to myself that what happened happened. And that's all that there is. And that's it. Dinosaur of 42 heads, can you hear me? I'm going to wait for the lag, but write Y if you can. Okay, cool. The Blair stream is just, I didn't watch the first part or the part after I left. It's just them accusing me of a whole series of random things. You will have to watch it in order to understand what it's about. It is linked in the description of my explanation video on my channel. You can go there to take a look at it. There's been a couple mirrors up because the stream itself was taken down. Nada S. Actually, I take Wellbutrin and Cipralex every day. It helps with my anxiety and my depression disorder. So there. Yeah, Loic, you've been an amazing person so far, by the way. So I also am very confused about this vernaculus narrative because on the one hand, he knows that like my GoPro knockoff thing was just going the whole night. It was plugged in. That's how its battery lasted. So like honestly, did not record him sleeping. And if it was hypothetically recording him sleeping, it was recording me sleeping too. So that doesn't even make sense. Murder of crows. No, I don't have Asperger's, but my partner is an Aspie. I just have a severe anxiety disorder and depression. Psycho, am I the only person on the internet not doing pharma? I don't know. If you need pharmaceuticals, you should be taking them. Don't be a Scientologist. Loik, Loik, if they apologize to you for the shit show, would you apologize for the recording? Honestly, if they just came to me, and I mean all 6 of them, and said that they should have come to me and talked to me like human beings, and if memory